just I mean, I'm just a little concerned by adding another $500,000 to option 3, you know, about the low pressure line.
Yeah, that's just a footnote option if you
Yeah, but
wanted to do that.
That's not really.
You don't have to, but
No.
it's just a
Just an
FYI.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Sutton Sewer Department. We're having a special workshop today to follow up on the engineering designs for the sewer extension. All members are present. And we have with us on-site engineering. It's going to do a follow-up on our presentation of last meeting that was held on March 13th.
Thank you. For the record, my name is Ray Willis, Vice President of On-Site Engineering. So at our last meeting, we discussed two options, looking at a gravity sewer on the upper reaches going down to approximately 254 Boston Road with a force main from Clubhouse Way. Those are options 1 and 2. 1 includes a gravity line servicing Singletary Ave, and the option 2 includes low pressure sewer down Singletary Ave to serve that area. So that's the only difference between option 1 and option 2. Based on our discussions during that last meeting, we had been asked to look at option number 3, which is compressing the gravity collection system just to service the upper reaches of the town common area, as I'll call it, which is Uxbridge Road, Singletary Road up to Cole Ave, with a portion just north of Cole Ave being serviced by a low-pressure sewer, in addition to gravity collection from approximately 301 Boston Road heading towards the town common, with a pump station located at 5 Singletary Ave, which is a town-owned parcel. What we then did was prepare the following sheet that has been provided to the board, detailing each option and the opinion of cost, and if you like, I can read those.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Option 1 would be the gravity collection of Boston Road, Uxbridge Road, and Singletary Ave, and that has an opinion cost of approximately $4.873 million.
Mr. Chairman, before we go, Ray, excuse me, you want to just indicate that that's an additional pump station also on that, for that amount?
Yes, so, sorry about that. So with option 1, that option would include a pump station located at 5 Singletary Ave, as well as 254 Boston Road. So that would include 2 pump stations. Primarily because of the depth of the sewer along Singletary Ave really makes it infeasible to do gravity from Singletary Ave down to Boston Post Road. So that's the need for the second pump station. Option 2 would be having a pump station down at 254 Boston Road with gravity collection on Boston Road and Uxbridge Road, with a low pressure sewer along Singletary Ave, which would then pump up to the intersection of Boston Road and Uxbridge Road. And that option had a cost of $3.422 million, to round up 3.423. Option 3 would include the gravity sewer along the town common portions of Uxbridge Road, as I detailed earlier, from Boston Road at approximately 301 heading towards the center, as well as Singletary Ave from Cole Ave to 5 Singletary Ave, with a low pressure sewer feeding or taking care of those few houses just beyond Cole Ave. And that had an opinion of cost of $3.153 million.
Thank you.
And the one question I would have now on option 3, when Singletary Ave has a pump station there and it reaches Uxbridge Road intersection here, it's gravity to what point? From that point?
It would be the gravity collection it would go gravity collection from the intersection of Boston Road and Uxbridge Road to 5 Singletary. And then from the pump station at 5 Singletary Ave, it would be a pressurized force main from that location all the way to Clubhouse Lane.
Coming back out.
Yeah, so coming back up
Basically
the road.
going down and then coming back.
Exactly,
Okay,
exactly.
okay, I wanted to clarify that, my thought. Any questions?
Yeah, so there would be a manhole like at the intersection of Boston Road and Uxbridge Road?
Correct, correct.
And that would have how many inlets on it?
There'd be a total of 3 inlets, one from Uxbridge Road, one from Boston Road, and one from Singletary leading out. The other thing that we could do there, because there has been some talks about the school at some point getting rid of their wastewater treatment plant and possibly connecting to this, we could leave a stub or a knockout on that manhole where a force main from the school could tie into the system and go gravity. Because due to the elevation difference from where we are here at the school, you'd have to pump up
Yeah.
to this point to tie in anyways.
But the ultimate goal of all of this is to have an inlet for the sewer from the school, so
Yeah, we
leaving,
can
leaving
certainly
something on that manhole would probably be a good idea.
Yep, we can certainly have that.
The gravity starts at Cole Ave. And we did have a discussion about the remaining houses beyond that point, going towards Millbury. We did talk about leaving options out there for a 2-inch line for those
Yep.
people to be able.
Yep.
Can you just elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, we did include that in option number 3. Essentially, it would be up to a 2-inch PVC force main that the individual users, if they were using, say, a low-pressure unit, could connect into and then go from gravity from the intersection of Cole Ave and Singletary down to the main pump station.
Right. So, I mean, with grinder pumps, those remaining houses can tie in
Yeah.
to a 2-inch
Yeah.
line. Yeah.
Yeah, and the reason for that, as we stated at the last meeting, was as you get from the intersection of Cole Ave and Singletary, the elevations of the road drop off substantially for the next 300 feet. So it would really drive down the sewer from that point going to 5 Singletary if you were going to do it gravity.
That, Mr. Chairman, can I get that? So when you're talking from Cole Ave, as we getting down there, the depth, and correct me if I'm wrong, if we were to pick up those remaining houses, that depth of that manhole been 20 feet in the intersection, and then about 27 feet by the time it got to
Yeah, so
that
so
crest of the road there.
Yeah, so in option 1, if we were gonna do gravity on Singletary Ave and then continue gravity down Boston Road to the pump station at 254 Boston Road, we were gonna be somewhere around about 25 feet at the intersection, plus or minus, and then as we started to go down Boston Road, by the time we caught up to grade, which is roughly 1,100 feet down the road, you'd be down anywhere from 27 to 28 because of the way that the road crowns up somewhere around 700 feet or so down from the intersection of Boston Road and Uxbridge Road.
And that kind of opens up to possibly hitting rock at that point.
Yeah,
Which is more costly at that point.
correct, correct.
We just kind of like to get it, and again, I mean, that's discussion that we had here. I mean, we're looking for the less cost effective, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
To the people, and that's why the options are here before us, and just want to explain to the people out there, I mean, the reasoning, why we had to cut it off from, from one point to the other point, so that's, thank you, Ray.
I think, if I can, another thing to bring up too is if the sewer department has to work in a manhole 27 feet deep, what does that involve also, so?
But, I mean, the chairman made a good point. I mean, once you start with 23 feet, you're not going back. And whatever you're gonna hit from that point on there, you know what I mean? It's that's why I don't feel comfortable with that, for the simple fact is, I like to do a project knowing what the cost is gonna be. Then you get all these, probably you hit rock, probably you won't, you're gonna hit rock when you get down there. Now the cost of this project is just gonna be, unforeseen. And that's what I don't like about, you know what I mean? That option.
All right, Carl, do you have any questions?
No, we pretty much answered all the ones that I had.
I'd like to just kind of give an overall view of what was presented to us, and option 1, which again repeating what's included 2 pump stations and basically gravity, which is a pretty extensive price at $4.873 million. As collective board, in our discussion last time, we kind of like ruled that out as not the most feasible plan for cost effective. And getting to option 3, which we own the land for the pump station, which is 5 Singletary Avenue rather. And we can make this intersection gravity, Uxbridge Road and Boston Road, gravity, so it receive the future of the school. My thinking of this, and the board's thinking, is that the goal here is to solve the problem with the town hall's sewer system and take care of anybody that's on the line going down and help Singletary Ave out a little bit. But more importantly, it's for the growth of the Sutton school system to expand eventually into this system. We want to see that within 5 years, what it might be, that's what it needs to take. We can definitely let this phase 2 play a role and enter this system. So it's being designed so that it will handle the school system right at the Boston Road intersection. Am I correct in understanding it
I would
that
say
way,
so.
Donald?
Right, absolutely right, yeah.
I would agree with you.
So we've considered this phase 1 of Sutton Sewer expansion. They primarily take care of Sutton Center, which is the town hall has a special need to solve its issues that's been ongoing. And I would like to make a recommendation that we, as a board, we make a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen to consider option 3, that we find it the most feasible, cost-effective. Regards to this, adding the low-pressure line along the pump station's force main, which brings an additional $500,000, I think that would be a discussion that, do we need that? Is it something that would protect us for the future by doing that?
I personally don't feel that we should consider at this point, yeah.
Okay,
I really don't.
all right.
I don't know if you.
So,
You know,
Yeah.
well, give me your opinion on it. Yeah.
I don't know, if 10 years from now we need it, what would it cost to redig the road up to do it again, you know? It's just, I mean, this isn't something we have to come up with immediately today, correct? Or
No,
is it-
not that. 'Cause
That's, yeah,
an add, basically
Yeah.
it'd be easy to add to the plan.
yeah.
but it was still, it's our recommendations to the selectmen, which is then presenting to the town. It's gonna have a dollar amount for this project. Correct?
Well, I mean, maybe that's a good discussion we should have with the Board of Selectmen. You know, we
That's-
know what it is right now, and if
Yeah.
you'd like to add this to it, that would be part of it, and,
Right.
you know, cause, I mean.
Let them help us
yeah,
make that decision.
I think, you know, on-site's here just to give the direction of what our
Yeah,
options
right.
are, and the cost on this here can be discussed between the sewer commissioners and the Board of
My
Selectmen.
primary thought was that if the school ties in, is that additional force main, at low pressure sewer line alongside it, is it necessary? Will it be necessary if that happens?
That's right.
If that's the case, then Larry's correct, it's something that should be considered now, rather than doing the work digging the road up again. Is that,
Is it a matter of 2 different sized pipes and everything? Is that the problem?
yeah, it's two separate lines. is
Yeah,
that correct?
so what we would do, that's something we can look at just a little more closely, just to make sure, just to determine whether or not that additional 4-inch pipe would be needed to serve the school. More than likely, the existing pumps or the proposed pump station at 5 Singletary would have enough capacity to accommodate that. But, you know, we'll take a look at that and see, and that way you can discuss with the board whether or not you wanna put that in as an adder at some point.
Well, the only thing that, you know, I like to say about this low pressure line in regards to grinder pumps and so forth, I know you spoke about E1s, and when I worked out in Webster, we had E1s, we're not very good luck with them, but, the Myers pumps that we've got can pump into, you know, a high pressure line.
Oh, yeah.
We have that, yes,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm getting at, so, you know, I just wanna, you know, make that clear that on the option, that, you know, depending upon what you know, what you call for grinder pumps, like
Yeah.
when we did a man jog, we kept it all the same make and model.
Yep.
Myers pumps, just for simple fact is, if you get a problem, I can help you. If you let everybody start going their own way, now I'm stocking parts for 3-4 different kind of
No,
makes and models.
yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, as for the Myers pumps, I think we have pretty good luck. I know, Larry himself's been working on some of them, you know, years ago when we first installed them. But all in all, we really had no problems in regards to, you know, them, and we do have them tied into the high pressure lines coming up.
Yeah,
into
yeah.
our system, but,
And as far as saying A1, that's just
Right.
basically an example. It came to the top of my head. As far as I'm concerned, is, you know, there are many different pump systems out
Right,
there,
right.
and happy to base the design on whatever the board sees fit.
But I think they're good questions, you know what I mean, and it's something that maybe we can, you know, discuss with the selectmen. I can get a little more information about pumps for the board, so you can kinda see yourself what you know, what we're discussing here.
Yep.
And, but that's the way I feel comfortable about them right now, you know what I mean? Right now, we should maybe discuss about this, you know what I mean? Leave it on the table, have some more discussion, get some more information about it. And by the meantime, that won't stop you from moving
Yeah,
forward.
no,
too,
exactly.
You know,
So will you be giving a presentation to the Board of Selectmen on the April 16th? Is that correct?
Well, that's the day
We're
we're
gonna
gonna
get confirmation here.
that's the date that the town administrator,
Okay.
you know, gave to
We'll,
me.
we'll- we'll try to get confirmation, but it will be
Yeah.
upcoming, and it'll be for option 3.
Yeah,
And I'm gonna ask us to take a vote on what our recommendations that we, I made a motion that option 3 would be what we consider the best proposal presented to us by Onsite to be passed on to the Board of Selectmen for the sewer extension. Any second?
Yeah, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion.
Can I ask a
Yeah.
question?
Mhm.
You're saying that line going down Boston Road will be a low-pressure system, right? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Am I correct in saying
Could-
that?
yeah.
Right down
Yes,
to the,
yeah, right back.
down to the village,
Yeah.
wherever that goes. Now, how does the people that live on either side of that road, how do they connect in?
through a low-pressure sewer, like
Like a grinder you
Yeah.
call it? You shoot,
Grinder
but like you say, it's a grinder from the,
Right.
yeah,
from the house, or
They have their own pump.
they have their own
Yeah,
pump?
so
And
they have their
who buys that?
individual that would be up to
All
whatever the
homeowners.
town.
That's up to the, yeah, right now, the way we've done it right now, but that's usually the homeowner's responsibility.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's actually option 2 that you have on the
Yeah,
Option
footnotes.
two is
there.
where we pay for it, is that what you said?
Well,
No, this
yes,
is the
that would
footnotes.
just be the adder if the
Yeah.
town was gonna buy them and install them roughly.
Right.
People will be looking for their money back.
Yeah, well,
No, I don't even
we're-
mention that.
yeah.
I'm not, but that's, you know, I'm just saying,
Yeah, the people that along the line wish to, and it'll be their responsibility to, for the cost and get the proper permits and so forth.
I
And,
mean, just for knowledge out there for the people on this sewer extension regarding this pressure line, there was discussion on people from Wainwright, is that, am I saying, is that the road? And any other offset streets that we're gonna leave the 2-inch right at the base of their street, so they don't have to come back, dig up the road, so that's all taken under consideration, and the 2-inch line, I know. That's not a very costly.
Yeah, I'd have to,
So that the 2-inch
just,
Off the force main.
off the force main is gonna be put in there for the possibility of those streets to be connected.
Yes, correct, yeah, that was the discussion.
Is,
I don't think.
wanna confirm that? And-
yeah,
Just looking at it, 'cause I know that we had a discussion
We
about
did
that.
discuss it, I remember that.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that was on one of the other options, though, like if it was low
Yeah.
pressure or something,
yeah,
right?
let me,
But
take
it'll only be those
Yeah.
2 streets.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think there's only 2 streets, right?
Well,
Okay.
you got
Well,
Burbank,
Armsby,
Armsby, and Wainwright. Yeah.
That's good.
All right, so,
All right.
we'll look forward to,
Yeah.
seeing you at the Board of Selectmen and,
either the 2nd or the 16th.
right, okay, and, you know, then, you can give the in-depth about, the adding of the low-pressure sewer line, and we'll be there to support you,
Great.
and,
Definitely, you should.
so, unfortunately, it won't be a 2:00 meeting, though.
Ah.
So bring your coffee.
Bring us coffee.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much
Thank
for
you.
the clarification
Thank
on
you.
it.
Thank you.
At this time, we're just gonna try to do a little,
Can I just, I'd really like to talk a little more about the school in regards to the connection and so forth. And I know that, we've been talking to school about their need and about their aging process of their treatment thing. And, I kinda like to just have a brief discussion upon that. I know Carl's been talking to Roger Raymond down there. And just to let the people know what's going on in regards to what's driving this, sewer extension to the center of
it's a
Sutton.
good point. And basically, as I kinda mentioned before, one of the greatest things about this extension being done is that it's gonna make the eligibility of the school system eventually be able to hook into the system. So Kyle, why don't you tell us what you,
Actually, I went down and talked to them about the wells that they had, they had identified. I think there's 3, and I don't know where the 4th one is, but there's 3 that I know of. But the system itself is, I guess their big concern is, they don't, do they have a sufficient amount of water, to run the system? And those tanks that they have, those storage tanks in that building, they just patch them. They've been patching those things up from leaks to take care of that.
so that they've got a lot of
They got a
deferred
short
maintenance
life,
at that
I
point,
think,
short
yeah.
lifespan
And
on.
that leach field too, if you think about it, and you got the same thing over at the Manchok plant. You have a leach field, but it isn't gonna last forever. So you have to have room, and you have room, I think,
Yeah.
that you could expand that leach field. But I don't think, if you look at the schools, it's right next to a swamp anyhow, so I don't know how long that's gonna last.
So
So this is a good thing to maybe bring out phase 2.
in phase 2,
That we're
and
gonna
a
have
good
a phase 2,
explanation.
and we may be coming back to get some engineering done in the future, not too long, but enough time.
And for the public's information, the school does have in their budget a substantial amount of money
Oh, they
per
have a
year
hundred, yeah.
for operating their septic system.
$178,000.
And, once they get tied in, that could give them some relief as well as,
Oh, definitely, yes.
working, excuse me.
Thank you.
Bless you.
Mr. Chairman, can I elaborate on just
Yes,
a little more about the school? Kyle hit on some very good points about the school here, but, speaking with the superintendent, from the schools and all that, the backlash I get from here is that life expectancy of that sewer treatment is about 3 to 5 years before they have to start putting some serious money into it. It's an aging process. We all know what it's all about. We were with it with our motors and actuators and so forth. And there's no difference down there. And, all said and done, that probably costs about $200,000 a year to run that treatment facility by the time you get done. And then, right now, without this approval of this sewer coming to the center of Sutton, the townspeople have no option. The only option they've got is keep soaking money into an aging process building. This will allow them to give them an option to bypass all that, to do away with the DEP permitting, to do away with your staffing that you're subcontracting to run your treatment facility. And most of all is your cost savings on your operation and maintenance of that facility. That's a big savings to the people. And I think the main goal here is to give the taxpayers in this community an option on where you wanna go. You don't have any right now without this sewer coming to the center of Sutton. And that's the driving force of this extension of the sewer.
And with a nice school addition that we have, that's, what, 2 years old now? It's a big plus to see that can be on town sewage and water. And Kyle mentioned that we can start talking about it briefly as a second thing for 3 years down the line. But the people should know that our goal here is to help the school and ultimately in the end, but it has to stop with this phase being done in order to get the sewers eventually to the school.
And good point, Mr. Chairman. And the other side of this here is that the cost for the school is just gonna be, probably utilizing their present tanks, putting a couple pumps in there and running the line straight up to Boston Road.
Right.
That's the cost, you know what I mean? And it's far less than what it's costing us here. You know, the only thing you have to be concerned about is the ledge in the road and that there, but, you know, by running a force main, you don't have to worry about blasting and all that. You just keep it down your depth about, 4 or 5 feet for the frost, and that's the completion of eliminating your treatment facility.
And all of the taxpayers support the school system through its town's budget and so forth, and I would think that, knowing that that's gonna go down, when they don't have the treatment plant to operate and be accountable for, down the line will be a big substantial
Savings. to the town.
savings for the town and the taxpayers. Even though we have expansion, but this, once the expansion is done, it's just like what happened in Manchog. I mean, unfortunately, that was mandated we do, but it's really has brought a lot of value and a lot of growth to Sutton once the sewer system went in line. And this is also an additional concept of it. It allows the growth to continue on. Larry, any further discussion on this at the moment?
No, I just feel that's the whole
Okay.
purpose of this, is to get the school into it
Yeah, well,
eventually,
that's a
so.
very good presentation from on-site, and I'm glad we got the follow-up. So we're all set with our vote on recommendation to the board,
Yes.
and
Would you like the secretary to drop the recommendation and run it by you prior to submitting to the selectmen? Or
yeah,
would you
that'd
like
be,
to draw
that'd
it?
be very good, yeah, if she would, I'd appreciate that. Draw it up and do the
We can
proposal, get them
decide.
to them.
Yeah,
And-
we'll run it by you prior to sending.
Okay, be very good. And as, while we're here meeting, there was just, on a previous meeting that we had last week, there was just a little follow-up that Donald wanted to take up with us in regards to the Department of Environmental Protection survey on the INI study. You wanted to bring that up so we could...
Yeah, I apologize to the board, I mean, we should elaborate on this a little more. This is their DEP's comment on our completion of our I&I study that was submitted to them. There is about 4 or 5 different things there, we can just run briefly. One thing that really, that really concerns me is that the DEP wants it by December 31st of 2019 to complete their mass DEP GIS mapping. I spoke to Jen Hager, and all our sewers are already on the map. But according to the Beta Engineering, who submitted this to the state, the feedback is that they want the location of the manholes and the depth of the manholes. And so that gets a little more complex there. I spoke to the DEP, and I'm still waiting for an answer on that. So I don't know what's going to transpire out of that. However, I mean, the amount that was forwarded over to me, I feel is a little excessive. So again, speaking with Jen, we were looking at maybe having this as a senior tax write-off, something that maybe the seniors can do. Jen has all the equipment necessary to get the GIS mapping in the manhole. I can have the manpower, the guys, flipping a manhole on it once the street, see what the depth is, and then move on that. So that's something we're looking into. I read, take care of the seniors.
Sounds like a nice proposal.
That's,
Yeah. Be helpful.
that's the avenue I would like to do, you know what I mean? And if not, then we're gonna have to sit down and, maybe you have to do something by the fall town meeting. Beta Engineering already has all the, information needed, for that section of town. They did design the plant, and out in the field, so they have all that information on hand. I don't think that's gonna take too much legwork. I think it's more in the Wilkes area. And again, until I get back the feedback from the DEP of, what you're looking for, and, we can have, I believe she has 3 devices that could, map the, manholes. And, I mean, all in all, yeah, it is a good thing to have, but regardless of people who's gonna inquiring about sewer, it's still, we basically refer to the field card, you know what I mean, what's out there and so forth. That's how we normally do it, but, evidently they want it all with the, GIS mapping and all that. So that's one of the recommendations there.
Okay.
And most of these are submitted report. That's gonna be Beta's thing. That's why we hired them. The plans for identifying inflow in Blackstone Street. I think we're gonna identify that underneath the Cameron. That will tell us, number 2, what's going on. This is one of their scheduled identify inflow in Blackstone Street meter basin. So they kind of want to know what's going on there, which we all want to know that. We already had that discussion about that. Submit reports. That's That's all Beta Engineering. This is the, number 4 is the camera work that that they're talking about. You know, they want, they pay every 7 years, we should be cameraing our system. You know, this is just, that, you know.
Every 10 years?
Every 10 years, oh, yeah. So it'd be 7 or 10 years, I'm not sure, I don't really,
Okay.
have that there, but, you know, they want the, they want it cambered. So, you know, we're kinda ahead of the game with this, Blackstone Street area. Actually, we're identifying 2 things, we're identifying the integrity of that pipe, and also any additional inflow that's coming in, you know what I mean? So we're kinda, by that camera, we're kinda hitting 2 of them. The other one they talked about, the main street, Manchog, there's 2 sections where the, I&I's coming in, and we're gonna be addressing that in May, June of this year. So,
I think you have that in the budget already.
yes, we do,
Right,
yes, that's
right.
correct, we have that, yeah, I appropriated that at the start of this fiscal year. So, I don't think I made anything else over here, what you see in front of you. You know, everything here, it says March 31st, they want this report, actually April 5th, and I'm meeting with Beta tomorrow morning, you know, I mean, just to go over the game plan, so that, they can forward a report to, the DEP. So, and again, we should have gone over this, and I apologize that we didn't, and, but this is where we are with the I&I
I
study.
appreciate the follow-up on the documentation here. Any
Can I
discussion?
I was gonna ask this when you started, I probably should have. Can you just, I mean, we know what I&I is, just tell the people listening what I&I is?
Yeah, well, it's inflow and infiltration, what comes in. One of them comes from the ground, the other one comes from storm drains, you know, people tying in with sump pumps and that there. And, you know, there was recommendation down on here from Beta, not the state, the Beta wanted to do smoke test. Well, I'm not too keen on smoke tests, is my experience in the past in Webster, we did that, is that the whole fire department was out there by the time they got done. No one notified them, and everyone's alarm system was going, it was a nightmare. And I don't feel comfortable doing that. I think the cameraing will identify things a lot better. You know, the smoke, I tell you what the smoke test will do, will tell you if you got a sump pump, you know, connected. You know what I mean? It'll come out of your
the
rain
house?
gutter and all.
What in your ring?
Oh, yeah.
So
Exactly.
detecting infiltration of water or water table getting into the line, sewer line
Right.
system.
Yeah.
That's-
Infiltration, but that's if you got a crack in the line,
Right.
you know what I mean, or, you know, things like that,
That's your
that's.
runoff from the
Runoff.
ground and to
Water
Right,
drains
and
and.
then you only identify that is by camera,
That's
you know what I
it.
mean, that's the only way you're gonna identify that.
I had my line out of my house cambered with a closed circuit, and
Well,
sure
I-
enough,
I do know, I think I remember
like a
the,
little cave.
it was a very good question, Larry, because I think I remember, I sat through 3 meetings with that, and I still didn't know what it was way back in 2007, so it is definitely good to know what the abbreviations are. Any other discussions about Donald's update on this? Okay.
No, it's fine, it's good.
I'll just repeat that our next meeting, we'll be meeting with the Board of Selectmen, but our next scheduled meeting will be April 10th at 2 PM.
Yep.
So that may be before or after our Selectmen meeting. And
It's gonna be like in April or in May?
April 16th.
April 16th or April
That's what
2nd,
Jim
we're
was,
gonna get
Is that
confirmation.
what he said?
Yeah, that's what you guys told me about,
Right.
16th, so.
So if you open your calendars for both days, until we find out which day it is, it's either gonna be 2nd or the 16th. And then our meeting is the 10th.
So this meeting, Mr. Chairman, with the Board of Selectmen is in conjunction with the Board of Selectmen, with the sewer commissioners.
Right.
So I'll have them that, you know, along with on-site, so when they post that, we're gonna be there also, I think that's what the town administrator was asking about.
Right, so, but on-site's gonna be doing the presentation to the Board of
Selectmen,
Selectmen. And we're there to give our support or any comments that we so wish to
Right,
at that
right.
point.
Right. What's April the 2nd, what was, you mentioned?
It's a Tuesday.
I know it's a Tuesday.
That's, we're not sure which schedule they have them set up on, whether it's April 2nd or April 16th, the Board of Selectmen meeting.
Right.
We'll get confirmation of that. Donna will give you a call.
All right.
But,
So,
I'll shoot
in,
the 16th.
if there's nothing else to discuss, a motion to adjourn this workshop at approximately 2:35. Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Okay, aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Aye. Thank you.